Here's Johnny. Thank you, Ed. Hold it though. Well, hello there, social media family. Been of any subscribers and our visitors alike, affiliated or associated with and or representing my own YouTube social media channel and our chat room or comment section. Oh, excuse me. How are you all doing? Well, hopefully everyone is at least okay. If not better yet to be said, all right, or if not best of all to be said, to be feeling blessed and stressed, more blessed and stressed, or too blessed to possibly become or be stressed. You and yours, the family and friends, hopefully me and mine, likewise as well, all the same. I get more vitamin C into my system, you know. These are some crazy weather temps that we've been having. Well, hopefully Mother Nature will prove to have become or be more merciful than the elements otherwise. If you know what I mean. Read between the lines, fill in the blanks, you know. And bear with me, because I may eat a little snack while I'm broadcasting. But then now that I gotten the preliminaries out the way, you know, being the salutation or greeting or whatever I said, and the basic intro as an introduction and footnote for that matter. Then let's just dive in to, you know, the present subject matter or topic of discussion to be debated, or as it is of a given argument, with many different views and opinions to be possibly affiliated or associated with and representing some of such thereof. Yes. And no offense or disrespect is meant to be directed at any persons otherwise for what I'm about to mention before I were to get into that of speaking upon the president's social media broadcast during a video conference. You know, when I say handball, let's test the waters now and give my own narrative. Okay, and here we go. You know, most recently, you know, across the great waters of the Atlantic that claims to have become like a democratic republic or democracy to be compared on to that of our own. You know, so far as concerning, you know, the country or nation of Mother Russia, or the former, or as it was previously known as, likewise, a.k.a. the Soviet Union, or the u.s.s.r, the union-of-soviet-socialist-republics, in which has claimed to have become a democratic republic or democracy to be compared onto our own. Oh, sorry about that. Being of, you know, the USA, the United States of America. Whereas it had become subjected to experiencing its own Pearl Harbor to be compared on to the historical American one, which was chronicled. You know, ooh, whereas a sect of Islamic Muslim terrorists had caused the Russians to become subject to experiencing, in other words, their own 911 or October 7th. Caught them with the pants down. Blew them out of the water. No offense or disrespect is meant to be directed in the deceased. And whereas the casualties were in numbers, it's supposed to be some kind of Islamic Muslim terrorist sect. I think from the third world country, or what is it, Middle Eastern nation? Is Afghanistan in the Middle East? I can't remember. I have to check the geography sometimes. But anyway, it's somewhere over there, overseas, if I'm not mistaken. It's here in the Western Hemisphere than in the Eastern Hemisphere. But anyway, though, so the Russians were caught with their pants down. They got bushwhacked. Similar to be compared on, so I say and I state for the record, metaphorically, like the likes of like the case of situation up under condition, whereas a male sexual predator character of an animal or a monster would have scoped, stalked, and then, assaulted or attacked a woman or a child. Like giggly, giggly, like the real life quagmire. No offense or disrespect meant to any past, present, or future women and children, sexual assault victims or rape victims. And I had said that last. I'm going about mentioning it to employ the usages or to use their simply say, something to support my argument, from my own perspective or narrative, or as I give my own views and opinions upon this matter. And as a backtrack here with reason or purpose being, or else I go on to problem to continue for when my person at last left off, so I can finish up as and complete a former previous prior line thought in that same or similar sense of the word. Whereas the casualties were practically, if not possibly, as many as the casualties for what had happened in the state of Israel for that October 7th incident of last year. I would say about 1/10 of their casualties. I think, give or take a number. I think it was like, 150 persons practically. Well, literally, actually, close to some like 130 something persons had come up dead as a result of developments of that surprise attack on a city in Russia. And whereas President Vladimir Putin has gone about making a public announcement, whereas he says and states for the record that the perpetrators will be punished once they were to be found, as each and every one of them. Well, my best, at least a few of them were supposed to have been discovered, and they were beaten severely. I don't know if the beat down of a physical nature had come from the Russian police or the Russian military or both, or whatever the case of situation, they were beaten. Or as our kissing cousins across the waters of the great Atlantic, being the British or English for the mother country that gave birth to our own supposed so-called Democratic Republic or democracy of the USA, United States of America, would say, the perpetrators were beaten. The perpetrators that were caught, compared to the ones that have yet to be caught of accomplishing the crime, they were beaten, pretty much so to a bloody pulp, as the Brits would say, you know, in the process of being taken into custody, you know, apprehended or arrested. And the Russian police, they are much more, much more dishing out, punishment in a more severe way, when it comes to arresting criminal suspects, the likes or of usual suspects and public enemy number ones, as I'm hearing it. The Russian police will once they arrest a criminal, one of the likes of the rank and file, the criminal elements, usual suspects and public enemy number ones, they will beat you in the process of arresting you, beat you on your way to jail, and beat you in jail. Make you punch drunk. That's just how more serious the Russian police are compared to the American police when it comes to the likes of characters perpetrating civil and human rights violation offenses against other individuals, be they Russian citizens or foreigners. That's just the way it is. So I say myself, as a person who is supposed to be an unofficial Russian citizen, although I am more of an official American citizen. But anyway, bear with me as the waterworks may come soon enough, because this is rather tragic. Listen to me, my other president, President Vladimir Putin, who is just as much of a president to me as former ex-president Donald Trump. And President-elect Joe Biden is not my president. He's not my president. You do what you have to do to catch those Islamic Muslim terrorists. President Vladimir Putin. You give them hell, Harry, for having made that assault on our Russian citizens. You hear? Well, that is any of us Russian patriots, being official or unofficial Russian citizens for that matter. You hear? We're with you, President Vladimir Putin. We salute you and we support you. Do all that you can and give those God dog it. Oh Lord, forgive me for your name today. I think you get the general idea of what I'm trying to say. Russian Politburo, whatever. Do what you have to do, President Vladimir Putin, to bring those Islamic Muslim terrorists to justice. So I say, as an unofficial Russian citizen, although I'm more of an official American citizen. You hear? Not necessarily saying move heaven and hell. Nobody can do that but Christ. You know what they say. Any Russian citizens who are not standing behind, as in supporting President Vladimir Putin at this time, then you are an Islamic Muslim terrorist supporter or enabler, so far as I'm concerned. So I myself say, as an unofficial Russian citizen, although I'm more of an American citizen. Do what you have to do. President Vladimir Putin, find each and every one of those Islamic mobs and terrorists. Yeah. And you make them pay. Those are real tears, you see. Did you think I put some teardrops in my eyes or have my eyes watering like that? Yeah, I'm telling like this. President Vladimir Putin of Russia is more my president than President-elect Joe Biden, as well as President Donald Trump, former ex-President Donald Trump of the USA, is more my president than President-elect Joe Biden. Yeah, President Vladimir Putin of Russia is more my president than President-elect Joe Biden of the USA. Catch each and every one of those Islamic Muslim terrorists. You hear? You hear, President Vladimir Putin? And you make them pay. You make them pay. And now on to other things. Just you're thinking about as I reflect upon some of such other. Take it away, Beyonce. This is Texas. My fellow Americans of Texans, you do what you have to do to keep the Islamic Muslim terrorists and Mexican drug cartel lords at bay, to prevent them from crossing the border into our own American country, into our own nation of the USA. This is Texas. Anyway, though, getting back to the original subject matter or topic of discussion to be debated, being as it is of a given argument, with many different views and opinions to be affiliated, associated with, and representing thereof. Now, I don't know much about what had happened there in Russia. I can only give you so much of what I have gathered of a line of thought. You hear? My social media family being, subscribers and visitors alike, affiliated, associated with, and representing my own, my own YouTube social media channel and chat room. But it was supposed to have happened, that massacre, at some kind of music concert. That's what I remember, And whereas, disregard, it's just this pinhead outside. You know the one that I was telling you all about. He's always misbehaving, like I got to mention him every time I do a broadcast. The dickhead prick, drug pushing, creepy, stupid and crazy, cowardly, faggoty, nigger SOB bastard neighbor from damn hell. One threatened my life a couple few times, whereas I had to call the police upon him a couple few times as well. And he threatened my life verbally. And as I suspect he could possibly be moonlighting as a closet gay pedophile or a closet gay rapist of a Catholic priest wannabe. Not that all Catholic priests are in the boys. But getting back to some such other before I was so rudely interrupted, just as long as he stays outside my apartment door, we won't have a problem. Otherwise, I call the police on him again. So anyway, though, it was for a music concert. So I was saying, getting back to the original subject matter, a topic of discussion for the argument. It was for a music concert, and whereas these Russian citizens were supposed to be enjoying themselves, at that given moment before they were taken by surprise, before these Islamic Muslim terrorists had physically, violently assaulted or attacked them, just spraying them at random with loaded lethal weapons of firearms, and supposedly in retaliation for Russia having at one time or another embarked on a military mission against the country or nation, I think it was Syria at some such given moment in time, something like that. I think it was Syria, unless it was Lebanon. Oh well. Anyway, though, that's what's supposed to had taken fruit, or the assault or attack was supposed to be some kind of retaliation against Russia, for supposedly attacking an Islamic Muslim terrorist stronghold somewhere in one of those Middle Eastern countries or nations, and so these crazy Islamic Muslim terrorists had went on a rampage, just started killing people or persons in general, They didn't care if they were women or children, just like they're making fun of some and such. I mean, isn't that crazy? Just as insane, however said, as what had taken place hasn't happened on the date of October 7th in the state of Israel upon its border for the Middle East, whereas some other Islamic Muslim terrorists had caught the Israelis by surprise, and like the cowardly, faggoty bullies that they are themselves, being of these Islamic Muslim terrorists, male characters, whereas they were supposed to have raped not just women but children, and then they killed them, even taking babies and throwing them in ovens that would have been lit, or some kind of smoking, what's it called, an open pit that person would construct, a makeshift for barbecuing, unless they were to make a purchase of a one that's already manufactured, and it makes some kind of, get some bricks together and then some, how they do that, yeah, that's barbaric for these here cowards to have gone about like that, as they had done. It did. They just sprayed the spectator fans. I say the spectator fans within this atmosphere for its present properties of a music concert over there in Russia somewhere. A music concert that could possibly compare them to our own American Lollapalooza, So hopefully our own American police and military will beef up security, some of such, like say from toy cop security guards, to the police and or the military or the National Guard, as well as the regular military, in the event that certain Islamic Muslim terrorists may get, a stupid and a sick notion or ideal to go about a repeated performance here, as they did in the former u.s.s.r. and think to repeat those physical actions within the USA, you know, like what they had done in Russia and or Israel, you know. But then I don't think we're gonna be like so easily, you know, surprised like that when we had become subject to experiencing our own 911 at one time or another, you know, as well as Pearl Harbor. Hopefully we would have learned our lesson. Then how Russia had yet to become subjected to experiencing an incident. I say an incident as that being of which they had, you know, being of the fact of the matter. I mean, 130 something casualties of persons now deceased, you know. Well, in compared to Russia, it was something like 10 times the amount of casualties in the state of Israel, you know, for the Middle East. Something like, what was it, close to 1,000 or so, to be compared on to the Guyana tragedy, you know, or that incident that had happened with that false brethren, false prophet, or antichrist, you know, the likes of some kind of prosperity preacher, televangelist of a religious cult leader by the name of Jim Jones, who was the former ex or late pastor of the People's Temple, whereas from there he changed the name to Jonestown once he had been able to, you know, secure traveling visas or passports for American citizens or members of his religious cult to transfer their what was formerly the People's Temple Church to be transferred as a religious retreat overseas in a South American country, whereas it would become known from there as it would be renamed the People's Temple. And we know what happened with that chronicle historical incident, where it's close to 1,000 casualties of persons. And well, I think you get what I'm saying. I think you all get the general idea of what I was trying to say. You know? But then in getting back to the original subject matter, topic discussion, giving an argument with the many different views and opinions we possibly affiliate, associated with, and representing thereof before I close out. You know, well, as I'm about to do so now, you know, shortly. Now, I keep you all abreast of updated on it if and when if I were to make another broadcast, social media video content as this being, but then you all could check it out of the current events as in, you know, news report yourselves rather, is what I meant to say. Excuse, pardon, forgive me for butchering the English language of the American dialect with all of its grammatical usages of qualities and quantities, you know. But at least they caught some, if not all, of the criminal suspects of riffraff responsible for that massacre. I mean, 130 something persons are now dead as a result of developments of Islamic Muslim terrorists having gone upon a shooting spree, you know, with their loaded lethal weapons, firearms, or their civilian weapons of mass destruction, civilian, and then some. Now I heard that a lot of them had constructed underground tunnels for the October 7th incident in Israel, you know. And on that last note of interest, let me conclude by saying, and that is, If you haven't gotten Christ as your own personal Lord and Savior, with this slight interjection, whether or not there were any much survivors who had been injured, more than likely, more than likely, and more often than not, they would be taken to the nearest local hospitals to be treated by doctors and nurses. And on that last note of interest, as well as the purse will be arrested and punished. You do your thing, President Vladimir Putin, to any that you give the orders for punishment to be dealt out to any of those Islamic Muslim terrorists. The Israelis, and then I get to closing out. The Israelis, they were saying in more words or less, if they catch any Islamic Muslim terrorists, male characters, they're going to circumcise them, if you know what I mean. Snip, snip, cut, cut. Turn them into eunuchs. Read between the lines, fill in the blanks. But anyway, on that last note of interest, I would like to say, if you haven't gotten Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, I would hope that you would think to do so now while the blood is still running warm in your veins, by recognizing or realizing what he himself had done or did upon the cross of Calvary on the hill of Golgotha, suffering at the hands of some Roman soldiers upon the orders of their superiors, religious, political, militaristic, and etc. But then, nevertheless, he went to that cross of Calvary to become the perfect sacrifice, the only sacrifice for you as well as me. Don't steal my trademark physical gesture. I'm going to have to copyright it sometime unless I want to risk it being plagiarized. Whereas if any of us, being of whatever races, walks of life, faction of society, lifestyle preferences, age, gender, and etc., being persons for our own human species, affiliated, associated with, and representing thereof, and not only that, but then the global or international community within this post-911 era of our new millennium apocalyptic day and age of this supposed so-called post-global pandemic, and whereas the stress level for the doomsday clock, being which is affiliated, associated with, and representing all the different ICBMs possessed by whatever countries or nations that have some of such, is at a few minutes to midnight, compared to how formerly previous or prior to then it was at a quarter midnight for these biblically prophetic times. Then, whereas if any of us were to profess faith in Christ, whenever we come and be blessed in one regard or another, more always one. First and foremost, with this salvation being, which is the only fire insurance against the fiery flames of the lake of fire of damn hell. The second of all, with his deliverance. But if you have not professed faith in Christ, then your final destination will be the lake of fire, damn hell, to be assembled there with the rest of the unsaved, lost, down human souls of unbelievers and unbelievers, to be tortured and terrorized by the devil and the demons, to be burned forever, compared to how we as believers in God will be across the great divide that separates heaven from hell, in the company of like-minded believers in the presence of God and his angels, and be blessed while we're down here. You all take care and be safe. We out. Peace.